What is going on, everybody? My name is Chris Waggener at Waggener Law, and today we're talking about medical bills and being able to afford medical treatment after a car accident. So, if you've been injured as a result of a car accident or some other kind of accident, then you've no doubt had to treat with some kind of medical professional. And as you've realized, and most of us know this even without having been in an accident, going to the doctor ain't cheap. So, maybe after the accident, you went to the ER directly, and now you're looking at a $750 ambulance ride bill and a $10,000 bill from the ER for all the x-rays and treatment that you received while you were there. Or, maybe you waited a few days and you got, some pain in your neck and you started going to your primary care physician or a chiropractor, and they recommend that you treat with them for, several months. So that treatment alone is going to be, thousands of dollars. So I think the best way to illustrate the concepts that I want to talk about in this video is through a hypothetical. So let's say that Mr. Smith is in a car accident and he gets injured and he's not at fault. And as a result of that car accident, he gets pain in his neck. So he goes to the ER and they check him out, and then he goes to a chiropractor as a follow-up to try to get rid of the pain in his neck. He's got decent insurance, so he starts paying his copays like, anybody with insurance would do. And after 3 or 4 months of treatment, the neck pain just won't go away. It's still there. So his chiropractor refers him out to a neurologist. And Mr. Smith goes over to the neurologist and tells him what's been going on. He's been treating with the chiropractor for a few months. And that neurologist does, what neurologists do, and recommends that Mr. Smith get neck surgery as a result of, the pain in his neck. So the treatment and surgery for something like that, neck surgery, is going to be roughly $100,000. So even if Mr. Smith has great insurance, he's looking at paying tens of thousands of dollars in co-paying fees. So what do you do if you find yourself in this situation or you know somebody that's in this situation? That question can actually be answered pretty directly, at least in the state of Florida it can be. And that is that if you've been injured by somebody else, it's not your fault. Even if it's an accident and they didn't intend to hurt you, like in a car accident or like a slip and fall or whatever it might be, you're entitled to recover the money that you spend treating that injury. So all of the bills that Mr. Smith accrues in the past from his chiropractor and the ER and, the ambulance ride, all that stuff can be paid or would be paid by the person that actually hurt him. In the law, we call that the tortfeasor. So the tortfeasor in this case would pay his medical bills. But the interesting thing is, in Florida law, the law allows for you to also get paid for medical bills that you need to have taken care of in the future. So that means that Mr. Smith can actually be paid for the $100,000 neck surgery as well, if that injury, if that treatment is related back to the accident. So in this particular situation, what Mr. Smith has to do, if he doesn't have the tens of thousands of dollars to be able to make those copays, or just outright have to pay the $100K on his own, he's going to have to go demand the money from the guy that hit him. So what that means most of the time practically is that you're going to end up dealing with the insurance company of that person, unless you hit like Bill Gates or something like that. Most people don't have $100,000 just lying around in a bank account or just in personal assets, with like you could go after like a Ferrari, I guess, or something like that, get that and, sell it. But most of the time what you end up doing is going after the insurance company who insures the person that hits you. Like, that's why we all have insurance, right? If you get into an accident, you can pay for the damage to the other person, pay for your own damages as well. So, but the problem is that insurance companies fight these kinds of claims. And I used to actually represent insurance companies against guys like Mr. Smith. And I know the arguments that they make. A lot of times they argue that pre-existing conditions is what the surgery is treating. So, and they go all the way back. They will go back to high school for a 50-year-old. I've seen it done. Let's say that Mr. Smith got hurt playing football, hurt his neck in high school, and he's never had any problems with it. But, all of a sudden after this accident, it starts hurting him. The insurance company will say, oh, it's from that football injury. This isn't from the accident. We're not going to pay for that. And, you have to fight over it. They also like to argue that if you haven't had the surgery yet, that you're just going to take the money and run, that Mr. Smith is going to take that money and he's going to go on some exotic vacation, or he's going to remodel his house or whatever it is, spend it on anything but that future surgery. So That said, though, people like Mr. Smith who have insurance like that, they can do the copays, initially for the first few months are fortunate because not everybody has that. Not everybody has insurance that can deal with these sorts of things, even like on the lower end. For just like the ER visits, or for like the initial chiropractic treatment, getting MRIs, that kind of thing. Some people aren't able to swing that kind of money in order to be able to get that kind of treatment. And so what they end up doing is they get these injuries that are livable. Like we're all people that live in the world, right? You got to make do with what you got. So if you get hurt, maybe it's not, like debilitating, excruciating, you can't get out of bed pain, but you feel it every day. It's there. And maybe it affects your work, or maybe you get up out of bed slower because of it, or at the end of the day, you can't play with your kids because, you worked all day on your feet and it's bothering you and you need a few hours for the pain to go away. Like, is that livable? Sure. You can get past that. So if you don't have insurance, what you do is you just suck it up. And I get it, like I understand that, a lot of these types of people also, they're the kind of people that they don't want to hire an attorney because they don't want to sue, right? And they just suck it up, and that's fine. I get that. But it's important for me to let people know that, like these avenues are out there. You don't have to suffer in silence if you don't want to. Always remember that if you're hurt because of someone else's actions, in most cases, you can legally recover money to treat those injuries from that person. And if you do hit like, or if it's somebody like Bill Gates that has, like endless supply of money, you can go after him personally. You don't need an insurance policy to do that. Even though a lot of times what we end up doing is working with insurance policies. So, I personally hope that if you need help with these sorts of issues, hire an attorney, just because or consult with an attorney. Most guys like me that do plaintiff's side injury law like this, we'll talk to you for free. We'll help you out. We'll consult with you. And if you don't really need us, then great, go on, you can go do your thing. But if you do need us, then we're here to help. So, our goal at Waggener Law is to do such a good job that you tell your family and friends about us. So, if you are in need of an attorney like this, give me a call, shoot me an email, whatever. But, if not, or if you don't want to come, you don't want to hire us, that's also cool, but I would recommend that you go with somebody, talk to somebody you trust, talk to somebody you know. So I hope this was helpful, and I'll talk to you guys later.